seductive voice, she mentally translated his words. To the beautiful one who listens to my song, is it possible to steal your heart? While I play my guitar, and if you are entranced by my voice, be careful, my beauty, you will lose yourself in the night. Despite the warning laced into the fabric of his song, Nora had already been put under his spell. She became consumed by the lull of the guitar player and glided toward him. All sense of reality was lost as the Spaniard continued to sing. She knew he was singing only to her. Her light brown eyes nervously held the steady gaze of his, dark and intimidating, which made Nora think she was looking directly into the eyes of the blackness of the night itself. They were as menacing as they were beautiful, and she found that even though she tried to look away once or twice, he would not release her from his stare. She began to curl her hips in time with his strumming, then felt her arms alternate between floating up and above her head, then swooping back down, snapping her fingers simultaneously. She stomped her heel to the beat of the clapping of the players and twisted her body to the music, all the while keeping eye contact with the guitar player. After a while, the band put their instruments down and headed to the bar for a drink. Several girls crowded around the singer, bass player, and drummer. The lead guitarist stood to the side, leaning his hip against the bar and sipping on a glass of rum and ice, still looking in Nora's direction. As if in a trance, Nora felt the crowd parting for her as she walked mechanically to where he stood. Guapísima. Hello, beautiful. I noticed you dancing earlier, the dark stranger crooned in a smooth Spanish accent that didn't quite match that of the Andalusian she was used to. What is your name, beautiful? Nora. And who are you? Me llamo Sinbad. My band, Sin Luz, and I come to visit and play every year at La Feria, Sinbad explained to her, his black eyes reflecting her own image in them. You are from America, yes? I'm from Texas, Nora breathed. Your guitar playing is really amazing. I've never heard anything like it. The Sevillana style is different than any other. The people of Sevilla want music that they can participate in. They become a part of the song itself with their clapping and snapping and stomping. It's like a delicious poison, intoxicating their soul and sweeping them away. Nora knew what Sinbad was talking about. She felt the same uncontrollable sensation when he played and sang to her just moments ago. Even as she stood talking to him, she could not keep the lyrics of his song out of her head. They ran on a continuous loop that she could not stop. As she stood talking to him, she felt herself falling deeper into a trance, his eyes drawing her in and his song echoing in her head. A la bellísima, que escucha mi canción, quizás es posible robar tu corazón. She could not deny that her heart, mind, and soul were all being stolen by Sinbad, with each word he spoke. They stood and talked until the crowd began to disperse, and there was soon only the band, a few Spanish women draped on their arms, Nora, and Sam, who was now holding up the pretty Spanish girl he had been talking with. Sam struggled to support his drunken admirer and had spent the last 20 minutes trying to find the girl's friends to take her home. Hey, Nora, Sam called to her. Elisa here got separated from her friends and can't get a hold of them. I'm going to get her a taxi back to her house and head home myself. I think the casetas are closing anyway. Are you ready to go? You can't leave yet, Nora, Sinbad crooned in his sweet, accented English. The casetas are closing, but the night doesn't have to be over. We still have our instruments, and there's nothing stopping us from taking this fiesta to the street. Nora was powerless against the Spaniard's charm. Sam, you should go on and head back. I think I'm going to stay out a little later with Sinbad. She didn't even look at Sam as she said this, still staring into Sinbad's mysterious eyes. I don't know if... Sam stopped his protest when he saw the look on Nora's face. Her eyes were glazed over as if in a daze. How much have you drank, Nora? Oh, not much, just a glass of rum or two. She was sufficiently intoxicated, but did not realize that it was not the rum that had caused her drunkenness, but the song and guitar of Sinbad and the other players of Sin Luz. Come, Nora. I want to see how your beautiful face looks in the moonlight. Sinbad knew the spell he had woven had taken hold of Nora, and she would soon be his to add to his collection. She would make a wonderful addition. He hadn't had any American girls, not yet at least. The night was still not over, and there was still time to ensnare her. Sam winced as he felt Elisa's chest begin to heave under his arm, and she belched loudly. Okay, I really need to get this girl home. Just please be sure to call me when you get back home, Nora. Okay, I promise, Nora told him. Sam hailed the first cab that passed them and helped this little Spanish girl into the back seat, then climbed in after her. As the cab drove away, he saw a glimpse of Nora walking out into the night with Sinbad and his entourage, not realizing the level of danger she was walking into. He wished she would have gone home with him for once. but he had become accustomed to this routine. No matter how real and honest his intentions to be with her were, he could never seem to compete with the exotic charm and confidence of the Spanish men that she met here. He simply resigned himself to be her friend and to let her have her fun. Outside the deserted tents, the band members and the other women formed a circle under the night sky. The blackness was lit with millions of stars, mimicking the lights strung inside the casetas. Sinbad began his dexterous playing again, and the lead singer launched into an elaborate medley of an older Spanish language that he sped up and drug out at different times. The women around the circle swayed, while one of them, a tall, slender girl with a blood-red and black polka-dotted dress, entered the center of the circle and danced wildly along with the singer's voice. After a few moments in the spotlight, she took her place back at the edge of the circle. Nora clapped and lifted her feet in time. Then, when the circle was cleared, the others pushed her to the center of the ring. She stood there for a moment, while she waited for the next song to begin, and turned on her heel until she found Sinbad's face. His bleak eyes hungrily watched her, and a seductive smirk crossed his face. She met his gaze with equal desire, and as his hands began to caress the strings of his guitar, she let her body be controlled by his song, a beautiful marionette puppet and her musical puppeteer. Her body twisted and contorted at this new song. It took on a different tone than the sultry melody he had played inside the caseta for the crowd earlier. Just as passionate as the earlier version, the singer's voice now had an ominous edge to it. The other women's clapping and stomping had grown harder and stronger, each beat more violent than the last, increasing the intensity. She stomped her foot down, down, down on the hard pavement of the street, her torso arched and convulsed. "Ole!" shouted the other women. "Venga, mi bellissima," Sinbad hissed through his teeth. Clap, 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 she beat out along with the song. The passion had left. There was only the fierce intensity of the guitar playing and howling voice causing her to gyrate. The song abruptly ended and Nora spun around, dazed, until she heard Sinbad's voice speaking to her again. "Nora, our night isn't over yet, and neither is yours. You'll come with us to my loft." She obediently followed him. Somewhere in the far recesses of her mind she felt that she should not go with him. But then the lyrics of his song returned to the foreground, and she remained bound by his spell. She had no choice but to let Sinbad escort her down the windy Spanish streets to their flat. She and Sinbad lagged behind the small crowd walking ahead of them. They were no longer talking. Sinbad laced her fingers between his, leading her down the main shopping street. She recognized the H&M, Mango, and Blanco stores that she had stopped in earlier to find an outfit to wear for this evening. Even though she walked the street every day on her way to class, everything seemed unfamiliar to her at this late hour of the night. The street was always bustling with people strolling leisurely in and out of each of the shops. But there was no one in the street now. It was only herself, her Spanish seducer, and his entourage. She felt a moment of fear in realizing how alone she was at this moment. But then Sinbad gave her a sideways glance with his enticing dark eyes, and her fear was replaced again with uncontrollable desire. "We're almost there, beautiful. It's just down this little side street." Sinbad pointed out a thin alleyway off the main that Nora had never noticed before. The buildings on either side extended so high that she couldn't tell where they ended and the sky began, cloaked in the veil of darkness of the night as they were. As she entered the passageway, she felt as though she was about to be swallowed by the mouth of the night itself. The only sound to be heard was the echo of her heels scratching the cobblestone and splashing in a few puddles left over from the nightly street cleaners. The others had already disappeared behind an iron-barred door and up a steep spiral staircase that led up to their flat.